Hi there, I'm Brad Meltzer, and I'm reading We Are the Beatles for Barnes & Noble Storytime. Oh, we got the whole outfit. I've been waiting for this one. This is going to be good because you think we have one outfit? We have four. Oh, that's right. You didn't think we could do special effects on here, did you? This is going to be one of the greatest story times we've ever done. This is by my favorite author, Brad Meltzer, and my favorite illustrator, Chris Eliopoulos, doing the amazing art. Now, I'm going to tell you a couple things. Now, every time we do one of the I Am books, we always, Amelia Earhart always looks like Amelia Earhart, and Abraham Lincoln always looks like Abraham Lincoln. But the Beatles, they evolve. And so every time you see them, boom, 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 they look different. They've got different hair. They've got different mustaches. And I had Chris draw them all the different ways. So you're going to see them slowly evolving here. You ready for it? It's time to sing together. I wanted to get music for this one, but the music rights alone will make this the most expensive storytime in storytime history. I've researched storytime history. I can tell you that's a fact. You ready for it? Here we go. We are the Beatles. I'm Paul McCartney. One of my earliest memories is of lying on the floor and listening to my dad playing piano. Learn to play piano and you'll get invited to parties, Dad says. I didn't take fancy lessons. I learned by ear, just like him. I am John Lennon. When I was 5, I went to live with my aunt and got my first musical instrument, a harmonica. If you can play it by tomorrow morning, John, it's yours. You got it. My aunt made me wait until Christmas, but getting that harmonica was one of the great moments of my life. I grew up in Liverpool, England. It was a hard-working place. We didn't have much money, but it was home. Come on, Paul, you're late for the barber. What barber? You know, the one we always go to on Penny Lane. That seems like it'll be important later. Liverpool was a city with lots to explore. I loved investigating these grounds not far from where I grew up. What's this place called again? Strawberry Field. Shh, now let's go. I feel like that's going to be important later. One of the best parts of Liverpool was it had so many great music stores, packed with interesting new bands and songs from America, that gave me what I loved most. New music. When I heard the song Rock Around the Clock, I felt a tingle up my spine. They even had a new term for it, rock and roll. I love Little Richard, and I'll never forget the first time I heard Elvis Presley sing Heartbreak Hotel. My whole life changed from then on. I wanted to make music. For my 14th birthday, my dad got me a used trumpet. I started on the harmonica, but eventually switched to the guitar, since it was way more rock and roll. I started dressing the part too. John, you're putting Vaseline in your hair? Trust me, it's cool. When I was 14, my mother died from breast cancer. For me, music is more than just something you listen to. In those moments when you're down, the right song can lift you up and make you forget about the pain. Know what else has power like that? New friends. I am George Harrison. Oh, look at that costume change. I also grew up in Liverpool, though my favorite parts were out in nature, walking along the mud cliffs and through the woods. One day I heard Elvis singing Heartbreak Hotel. It changed the course of my life. Soon I became obsessed with guitars, and I daydream about guitars. In school, I draw them. You really love guitars, don't you, George? I even tried making my own guitar, but once, as I over-tightened the strings, snap! Eventually, my mom bought me my own guitar. She'd stay up until 3 in the morning, sipping tea and cheering me on. She knew nothing made me happier than creating music. Brilliant, Georgia, she said. Thanks, Mom. At 13, I met another student who was on my bus. You know who it is. You like music? Me too. I'm George Harrison. I'm Paul McCartney. Nice to meet you, mate. Paul met John when Paul was 15 and John was 17. He was with his band playing the song Come Go With Me. But since John didn't know the words, he made up his own. And backstage, John liked the fact that Paul knew all the words to 20 Flight Rock. That's not a popular song. I dig it. You're a passionate one, Paul. Paul was as good a musician as John was, and can play even better. John had to ask himself the question, was it more important to be a great individual or to make the group the best it could be? Would you like to join the band? Even back then, we knew that making rock and roll wasn't easy. It takes hard work, This is how we practice. This is a little, since Paul was left-handed, you can see it, right? This is Paul, this is John. Since Paul was left-handed, our guitars faced the same way. I'd learn the chords upside down and then go home and reverse them. He was my mirror, my model, my equal. At the start, it went pretty poorly. This was the moment I was supposed to play my first solo on guitar. I was so nervous and scared. Get ready, Paul, you can do it. I couldn't. I felt everyone staring at me. After the show, I told John I couldn't be the lead guitarist. We still needed someone to play lead, but I had an idea. John Lennon, meet George Harrison. This is your great guitarist? What are you, 14? I'm 15. Trust me, he can play. George could most certainly play. I could play. He knew more chords and made us better guitar players. There you go, mate. You've got it. Now all we needed was a proper name. For a while, we were Johnny and the Moondogs. What if we start with the at the beginning of our name? So we're not just featuring one person as the star. And our name could have two meanings, something cool and crawly, but also with a beat. Let's give a big welcome to the Beatles! And you know what? When they were first playing, this is true. They said, these guys, they're not that good. He was right. We were crummy, terrible, an embarrassment. Over time, we added a drummer and a few different members. The sound didn't get much better. Soon, people stopped hiring us. Even our family started to worry. The guitar is all right for a hobby, John, but you'll never make a living at it. Eventually, and here's the secret to the Beatles. We got an offer to play in Hamburg, Germany. The club was filthy, and the housing was so bad you could smell the toilets. But it gave us experience. We like to play some Ray Charles for you. This is a song called What I Say. During multiple trips and 38 weeks, we played over 1,100 hours. This next song is called What I'd Say. And that's 3 hours every night for almost a year. This next song, it's called What I Say. What I Say. And they're singing it. And the solo, they get a little better. I kind of like them. What I'd Say. And we arrived there as boys, and we left there as men. And then, when we got back to Liverpool, for the first time, we were really cheered. And everyone's cheering for him now. And they're, oh my gosh, they're so good. They're better than anyone. They're incredible. From there, we got some professional help. I'm Brian Epstein. I'd like to manage you, but I've never managed anyone before. Well, we don't know anything about being managed, so we could all try together. And then we got new outfits. These are good outfits. I like the suits. You'll look like no one else. And at the end of each song, you need to bow. And I bow, and he's like, trust me. And a brilliant new recording studio. Gentlemen, welcome to Abbey Road. This is George Martin. There was only one thing missing. You know what's missing. Here it comes. You ready? I am Ringo Starr. This is the only hair I had left. I grew up in one of the roughest neighborhoods in Liverpool. I was sick a lot as a kid and spent almost 2 years in the hospital. I'd stare out the window just wishing for someone to play with. At 8 years old, I heard Gene Autry singing South of the Border. When I was little, my family gave me different instruments, but my favorite was the drums. We didn't have much money, so I'd make my own set from biscuit tins. I didn't even have proper drumsticks. Drums of my life! For years, I practiced and played with other bands. Then one morning, the Beatles manager came to my house. We need a proper drummer, and you're the best. You ready? Give us a minute to get a cup of tea. Once Ringo was with us, the band was complete. There they are. By the way, you guys got any songs? Back then, what set us apart was that we wrote our own songs. This one's called Love Me Do. I do like it, but I could use some harmonica. Oh, a harmonica, that would be brilliant. We wrote music the same way we used to practice guitar, eyeball to eyeball. Writing a great song requires patience and perseverance. Instead of, she loves you, yeah, 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 the dad says, what about the more proper, yes, yes, yes? Dad, that's terrible. The first draft you write isn't usually the best draft. This one's called Please, Please Me, and they go, can you make it faster? Oh, that's all right, yeah. When we were done recording, they told us, gentlemen, you've just made your first #1 record. All we had to do now was convince the rest of the world. In America, our first 3 singles, our first 3 songs they released, flopped. Then the 4th one came out. Ladies and gentlemen, the Beatles. Sunday night, February 9th, 1964, we played live on The Ed Sullivan Show. 73 million people were watching. Elvis himself sent us a telegram. From there, it was Beatlemania. The more we played together, the bigger we got, and the more we evolved in advance. We tried on new styles and made movies. Remember Help? That's a good one. Even cartoons. There's Yellow Submarine. But what made us the Beatles were the songs and how well we worked together. And Paul said, I asked the driver how he was working. He said, I'm working hard, working 8 days a week. Love that. Let's start with, ooh, I need your love, babe. Sounds familiar, right? One of us would have an idea. It'll be like a poem. There are places I remember. Oh, I like that one, mate. And then we go back and forth until it was done. Dazzy-da-doo, diz-da-dee picks up the rice in a church where a wedding has been. You need a better name for that. Eleanor Rigby. Brilliant! Over time, we experimented with new sounds that mix folk, blues, and all the other music we loved growing up. The Magical Mystery Tour. We traveled the world perfecting our skills on groovy new instruments as Ravi Shankar, working on the sitar. But we never forgot where we came from. Here's a song about Penny Lane, where the old barbershop was. Ooh, how about Strawberry Field, the place he used to run around with? Most of all, we challenged ourselves. I'll write a song based on the first words I see in this book. If the words he sees, gently weeps. You know, my guitar gently weeps. And we push boundaries. So the album cover, it's just white, and we'll distort the music even more on this one. That's the white album. But want to know the real secret of the Beatles? Each of us made the others better. Cellophane flowers and newspaper taxis. And then John says kaleidoscope eyes and looking glass ties. As the band got more popular, our ideas got bigger. For the cover of the album, let's show a bunch of people we admire. Einstein, Laurel and Hardy, Lewis Carroll. It'll be a big collage, something you can look at and study for years. We went to a local costume shop. Everyone pick a color. The result was music history. And there it is, Sgt. Pepper's. Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, 1967. We wrote songs for good times. I have it. It's called All You Need Is Love. And songs for tough times. John, I got inspired thinking of your son and all he's going through as your marriage is ending. The song's called Hey Jude. The song's too long, they tell him. The DJs won't play it, John says. They will if it's us. Of course, some songs took on a life of their own. One day I woke up with a tune in my head. This is true. He said, scrambled eggs. Oh, my baby, how I love your legs. And John and I worked on it for weeks. Wait, I have a title for it. Instead of scrambled eggs, what about yesterday? All my troubles seem so far away. And we shouldn't put drums on that, Ringo said. We'll hire a string quartet. Our last live gig together was on a rooftop in central London. Get back, Jojo. For the album, I had the idea for the title song after a dream about my mother. In the dream, she told me, it will be all right. Just let it be. Those were whispered words of wisdom. And we called the album, Let It Be. You know that song. You're singing right now, aren't you? I know you are. Here's the best part, my favorite parts. In our lives, we were working class teenagers. We didn't go to fancy schools or get expensive lessons, but we found what we loved, making music with our best mates. Life isn't meant to be lived alone. Here's our secret. Find what you love and find friends who love it just as much. Laugh together, dream together, create together. Make each one better. When it gets hard, you'll be able to get by with a little help from your friends. The Beatles are the greatest and most influential and best-selling band in history. They have more number one hits than anyone else. John eventually bought his Aunt Mimi a house. Inside, she kept a framed plaque that read, "The guitar is all right for a hobby, John, but you'll never make a living at it. Whatever your dream is, keep chasing it." Did you know that when it comes to their favorite Beatles songs, the writer and artist of this book both love Here Comes the Sun? We used to sing it to our kids. Try it with your parents. Do-do-do-do. Individually, we are one note. Together, little darling, we are a song. There are four of us, but really one of us. All our hearts beating at the same time. The best music is the music you make together. And the essential message will never change. Love. It really is all you need. We are the Beatles. Come together. And what I love about this book is in the end, they take a bow. We are the Beatles. Come together. Thank you for joining us. And I hope you really enjoyed We Are the Beatles. If you liked it, go down to your Barnes & Nobles or go to barnesandnoble.com. Thank you so much to Barnes & Noble. Thanks to Chris Eliopoulos. And remember, everyone, keep reading, keep reading, keep reading. I say it in every story time we do. Reading's a superpower. Thank you for joining us and this mustache.